Hey everyone, I fucked up. Today I'm going to share how, and importantly, what I learned from the bollocking I gave my sleeve, and importantly, what you can learn from the bollocking I gave my sleeve. If you've had bariatric surgery or in that space, gastric bypass or sleeve, and you're navigating the soft and the hard and the pureed stages, this advice might be just for you. Welcome back or welcome to Rewired Bites. My name is Kim and I'm a counsellor in training and NDIS recovery coach. Content warning. This vlog includes a frank discussion of vomiting. It was the unfortunate result of my personal story and is educational with the goal of promoting harm reduction, not encouragement. If this may be triggering for you, especially around eating disorders, protect your peace and just skip this post. I'll catch you in the next one. So let's set the scene. My husband has survived a 14-hour operation and is returning home after 10 weeks in the Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre, followed by rehab. I had become familiarised yet again with the usual day-long discharge, so it was going to always be Chinese takeout. Plus, I can't cook Chinese. And it was a phenomenal spread. Mind you, my part of the spread was limited to just the soft veggies, being stuck in the soft food stage. But most importantly, this dinner had managed to satisfy both the nostalgic feeling and also quench the bloody food noise that had been playing all day as I dreamt on what I was going to have as our first meal home from the rehab centre. We finished up and I'm pleased to report that I didn't have any issues with anything that I had. I was good. But it was the opening of the fridge a few hours later when I felt like I had earned some of the leftover rice. Just a smidge. I thought, I'm on soft foods now, rice is fine in small amounts as long as it's by the tablespoon. Well, that's where things went a little helter-skelter. I should have been okay to be unsupervised. I'd been binging Dr.Vuong's videos on YouTube for the last couple of months. And this retired bariatric surgeon is a lifesaver when it comes to understanding what your new pouch baby can handle at each stage, amongst everything else you need to know about your surgery. I'll put a link in the description. Dr. V created a whole texture scale so that patients could fundamentally understand the post-op food stages. But I wasn't going to let anything get in the way of me and leftover rice and tofu. I ignored Dr. V's advice and followed the generic food recommendations of my dietitian, who had advised that rice in small amounts, a tablespoon or two, and tofu were fine at the soft food stage. What she failed to educate me on was that the texture of the allowable foods was more important than whether it was allowable. I was sneaking in a couple of tofu pieces and a smidge of fried rice that were all too dry and resembled dry chicken right at the very end of Dr. V's scale, way too early for week 4. All the moisture in the food had evaporated. Please comment below if you've had a similar experience with a food you thought should be kosher, but you later found out otherwise. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And bloody hell did I pay the price. I had probably gotten to my 4th or 5th bite when suddenly I stopped chewing because I was sent a direct message from my pouch baby. Do not swallow. I spat out the food and quickly felt a sharp, tight pressure in my chest. Still very much enamored by the whole nostalgia of the night, it was only then did I know that I had fucked up. I ended up almost hyperventilating before spending the next 30 minutes kneeling in front of the toilet as my body tried to get everything up and out. Bit by bit, those dry morsels of rice and veggies returned, but I could feel there was more stuck just pretty high up in my throat. So here's where things got worse. I ended up inducing myself to vomit the remaining food, thinking that I was saving my pouch baby the job of trying to process this food, which wouldn't slide easily through my sleeve. Huge mistake. I actually did this more than one time, and I learned later from ChatGPT that I could have risked my staple line doing that. If you recall, it has taken me 7 years to be approved for this surgery. And now I was already disrespecting this gift. So not only was I uncomfortable, but I was doing something that could have been dangerous. So what's the lesson for us? Well, there are a few actually. And I don't need to remind you that I'm not a bariatric nurse, a bariatric surgeon, a bariatric dietitian, or anyone qualified to give advice. But here goes. 1, regurgitation is never the answer for bad decisions on the bariatric post-op diet. Simple. Number 2, recognize food noise and then work at distracting yourself from it. It takes 90 seconds, and if you can last, you're usually gold. 3, recall the texture scale rather than relying on foods you've been told you can consume during the stage you're in. Intuitively, you know which foods are too dry to slide down your pouch baby. Dr. V's texture scale exists for a reason. If I'd been following it, I would have known that refrigerated boiled rice was still too dry for me at that stage. So learn from my fuck up and always be patient with your own progress. At the end of the day, we're all learning as we go. I'm sharing this so you don't have to go through the same discomfort I did whilst you learn. Take it slow, follow Dr. V's texture guidelines, and trust the process. If you want to dive deeper into what textures are safe at each stage, as I said, I've linked Dr. V's video. At the end of the day, we're all learning as we go. I'm sharing this so you don't have to go through the same discomfort